Go FOMO, no fear, subscribe, stay sharp, and dance with the stinky socks. Dance, 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 dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks.
Heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks. Bought some Bitcoin late at night. Woke up rich, that ain't right. Checked again, never mind. Broke as hell. See that line? Maybe risky, maybe wild, but so is betting on Uncle Clyde. Do your research, read your blogs. For heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks.
Don't smoke your socks.
1, 2, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Everybody hit that like.
No FOMO, no fear. Subscribe, stay sharp. Don't smoke those stinky socks.
Dance with the stinky socks.
Right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Let me put the music software there in the background. There we go. Okay, remember, legends, smash up that like button on your way in if you have forgotten to do so. Just a gentle reminder to hit that like button on your way in. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here together. And as per the thumbnails, what are the signs that needs not to be ignored, right? What are the signs not to be ignored? But first, before I dive here into the live stream, I actually want to run a poll. And I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to influence your decision over here. So how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? What am I going to ask? What am I going to ask? Right, let's say let's do this. Let's do this. 72, right? We put a line there. Or let's say, right? Because this is the zone everyone is eyeing, right? 68 or all-time high. Okay, which comes first? Which comes first? Right. All-time high or 68,000. $68,000. Let's do this. Let's do this. I want to test the sentiment out there. Just see, well, what do you guys think is going to happen? Wow, nice intro. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And while you guys vote over there, let me say hi to the community. Irina, welcome to the live stream. Shill, morning peeps, time to explode or implode? Yeah, that is definitely a very interesting question. Talma, good morning. New intro song. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button. I was not supposed to play you guys that intro song, okay? But anyways, it's a good song. It's a really good song, right? Don't smoke your socks. And I think for a lot of you today here on the live stream, you are going to think and most probably believe that I have smoked my socks this morning when I woke up. I wore my socks for a couple of weeks and then I smoked my stinky socks. Right, because what I'm about to say today, Right, smash that like on your way in. Let's go. Definitely a nice intro song. Thank you so much. All good. Welcome to the live stream, Mr. Jack. Hello, welcome. Ice, Mr. Ice, hi Dewald, and Bruno. Hi Dewald, slept well? Yes, I did sleep well. Okay, well, not actually. I didn't. Now that I think about it, I struggled to fall asleep last night, but woke up early, okay, 5:30 this morning, and right, yeah, I am bringing you guys the alpha. Okay, legends, today, right? Today, let's discuss the bright Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin here together. We can zoom into the smaller time frames. We can look here on the daily time frame. Okay, what is interesting to me that most people believe that $68,000 is coming first, right? We're first going to hit 68. And then maybe we go to all-time high, or some of you might believe that we're going to hit 68, create a lower high, and continue momentum to the downside. Oof, we do have massive resistance over here. But we also have insane support over here. And we are here in the middle, just floating. Which way is Bitcoin going to go, right? It's here in the middle. Massive resistance on top, massive support at the bottom. I think what's also interesting, if you go and switch on the VRVP, okay, that just shows you where the most amount of volume was traded. Since this consolidation that we formed here in March 2024, this massive consolidation area over here, and where price is at the moment, you can see that there is a mountain of volume below. Okay, and volume like this that was traded inside of this range provides resistance and support. And you can see this mountain of volume over here. Okay, it's a little bit blurry, but you can see massive resistance. That is also where we rejected and we fell here to the downside. Okay, so I mean, from a simplicity perspective, it's just interesting to also take a fib from the low to the high. Okay, and you can see where this volume is. Can you guys see where the volume is, right? If we are still going to fall down here, right, you have this cluster of volume round about, you know, this zone over here, round about this zone. In the golden zone, okay, this is referred to as the golden pocket between the 0.618 and the 0.66. This is the golden pocket, but this is referred to as the golden zone, and usually a great buying opportunity if price had to dip into this zone over here. Okay, mountain of volume, right? So it's definitely if price continues to the downside, it's definitely a place where you expect a bounce. The question is, are we going to make a lower high and continue, start the bear market, or are we going to make a higher low, you break market structure, and you continue to the upside? That is the conundrum. And unfortunately, I'm not a fortune teller, right? I like to think that I am, but I'm not, right? No one can predict the price of Bitcoin at the end of the day. But there's a couple of things that I want to point out in today's live stream. Mr. Mark, welcome to the live stream. I see you, brother. I haven't seen you here in a while. And remember to smash up that like button. Okay. Rudy, hi, Dewald and Legends. Good morning. Hi, Dewald, Elizabeth. Welcome to the stream. Hi, Dewald, Super Cluster. Right. So today's live stream is going to be a little bit different. I am going to do some slight technical analysis here on the smaller time frame. Quickly, some zones that I'm looking at for potential long to the upside. Yes, I'm looking for a long to the upside. And there's a couple of signs. Okay, I'm building the puzzle piece together, so you need to stay tuned. You need to hit that like button, because I'm going to just take you through what I'm seeing in the market, and then you need to tell me, what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you think that we are entering a bear market over here? I mean, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, yes, they just took an absolute dump here to the downside, claiming their August lows. Okay, you guys remember the 5th of August? Do you remember? I remember the 5th of August like it was yesterday. The 5th of August, when we got this little monstrosity here to the downside, okay? And it was not pretty. This was extreme fear. This is where no one wanted to buy, okay? Right? This is where the altcoins are going to zero. This is where the bear market was supposed to start, right? There was so much fear and so much uncertainty in the market when this happened on the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, also on Bitcoin, 5th of August. But then a miracle happened, okay? With all of that fear, that was the low. And look at how much volume kicked in when we made this low here to the downside. Yes, it got bought up very quickly. And from this point is where we made the all-time high. Okay, this was the catalyst, the signal, because I remember when we were here, everyone was calling for $42,000. Do you guys remember? Okay, because I do. I remember. Nice little 3 peaks, by the way, okay? Because I'm pointing out the signs over here. 1, 2, 3 peaks to the downside. When we were falling here to the downside, everyone was calling for $42,000, this zone, for us to go and find support. This, I remember the words. Guys, this is the only consolidation. There's a point of control in the middle. We're going to find maybe a bounce over here, create a lower high, and we're going to continue momentum to the downside. Everyone was waiting for this level. Everyone. Social media, thumbnails, YouTube, influencers. We're going to $42,000. It's the biggest area of support. There's volume here, right? There was volume. Look at the volume that was there. Okay, it also reminds me of when we were at $15,000, everyone was calling for $9,000. Right, now we are here. Okay, now we are here, and we've made 1, 2, 3 peaks. 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks even. Okay, if you're counting this one over here, but I'm counting it from the all-time high. 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks. So there's a couple of more peaks over here, but I mean, you could then say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so legends, I'm not leaning any side at the moment. I'm just showing you what I'm seeing. Okay, I'm not trying to change anyone's bias. You do your own research, and I need to put a disclaimer in terms of what I'm about. What I'm showing you guys today is that what I'm showing you is for entertainment purposes only. What you want to do with the information is completely up to you. Okay, I can share with you what I am doing, right? But by no stretch of the imagination do I want you to do what I am doing because I told you to do that. No, I'm just here for entertainment purposes. Right, legends? But look at this. Okay, now look at this and look at this high spike in volume. A spike in volume that we have not seen since the 5th of August. Yes, this one was a much higher, but I mean, look at all this volume, right? It actually tapered down. And then you make a low on the highest amount of volume that we have not seen since the 5th of August. So maybe that tells, maybe that tells a story. We've already created the 4 or the 3 peaks here to the downside. Okay, everyone at the moment is calling for $68,000. This is why I highlighted this area in the poll. Everyone is calling for 68. It's the most amount of support. You're finding support above the highs. It also reminds me of support. Okay, we're going to find support inside of this zone when we were over here. High amount of volume, where I did a couple of live streams and I told everyone this usually, something like this, usually signifies the end of something and the beginning of something new. Could this be the end of something and the beginning of something new? Okay. What else? What else? Right. Okay. Another thing I want to show everyone, and yes, call me crazy, I want to show you guys a couple of altcoins. Okay. When I look at Link, let's quickly look at Link over here. Let me just zoom and make sure that everyone can see this. Okay. It kind of looks like history is repeating itself. Do you guys see this massive consolidation area when we were inside of the bear market of, you all remember this damn bear market where Link just consolidated sideways? Beautiful accumulation zone. It broke out. It formed this beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure here to the upside. It had a correction, but look at what happened over here. It dipped into the consolidation area, right? It dipped into the consolidation area, and then the rest is history. It just whoo, off to the races it went. So can history be repeating itself over here? Because now look at what's happening over here. Okay, very similar consolidation of accumulation. Link is now dipped into the pool. Could it be repeating what it did over here? Are we going to see this? I don't know. I don't know, but it's definitely at an interesting zone. Definitely at an interesting zone, right? It's just, you know, these are some of the things that I picked up this morning. Very interesting what Link did over here and where it is at the moment. Right, then I look at Litecoin. Okay. This is the 2-day chart. This is the macro time frame. It's on the logarithmic scale, and I can clearly count, okay, there is price action before this price action over here, but you know, this is the exchange that I used, but there was a wave 1, 2, 3, and you have formed an A, B, C, D, and could the E wave be in over here to complete the 4th wave? And now we're going to see a final 5th wave here to the upside. This looks terribly familiar. I've seen this before. Okay. Let me go here onto and look for a specific token here on my blue list. Let's put this also on the log scale. Let's also put it on the 2-day chart, right? Let's just compare apples with, well, I'm not sure if I can say apples with apples, but do you guys remember this? Because I spoke about this many times, right? Many times. Okay, so this is XRP. It has formed a 1, 2, 3, and an A, B, C, D, E, right? When we were here, this is when I started talking, when we were here, I started talking aggressively about XRP, and I was like, guys, I think something's brewing. A multi-year, since 2018, XRP has been inside of this bull flag. And now I'm talking about Litecoin, a dinosaur coin, a coin no one wants to talk about. Is this the second XRP that's going to complete its E-wave? Right? That's now the question. Right? Look at this. A, B, C, D, E. Bam. It broke out. And it's holding. It's not doing this that it used to do. It's not, you know, rocketing up and falling back down. Rocketing up and falling back down. It's holding itself over here. It's broken out and it's holding the structure. Now I'm looking at Litecoin and I'm like, wow, this looks familiar. I feel like I've seen this movie before. This dinosaur coin that has been consolidating since 2017, December 2017, since we made this high. And it's just been going sideways. Who cares about Litecoin? No one wants Litecoin anymore, right? No one wanted XRP anymore because this is very, very boring price action. This is where people sell their bags like I did, but I got back in. Luckily, I got back in. And now I'm seeing the similar sign here on Litecoin. Okay, this consolidation has been in the making for 2,666 days. Oh, that's absolutely insane. Can it really be 2,666 days? Anyways, legends. But you guys get the point. I'm seeing these signs. Okay, can the E wave be in? I have a clear invalidation. Your D is not allowed to take the high of B. Your C is not allowed to take the low of A. And once your E is in, it's not allowed to take the low of C. And this is why I have an invalidation. Inside of XRP, I had the exact same conversation. This was my invalidation on XRP. I told everyone, I know it's far away. This is what I said. I know it's far away. Okay. That was my invalidation because E is not allowed to take C. Otherwise, you invalidate this entire structure that's taken multiple years to form. And the higher the time frame, usually the more accurate the technical analysis. Okay, and now I'm seeing the same thing here with Litecoin. Interesting. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, then I look at ETH. Let's go and look at ETH. Right, I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing here, legends. I'm not trying to change anyone's bias or convince you to do anything that you don't want to do. Okay, now I look at ETH. Right, very boring. The sleeping child, the altcoin that's supposed to spark the alt season, is just sleeping. It's not coming to the party. We've phoned ETH. It doesn't want to come to the party. It's got a headache, right? It doesn't want to party with us this season. And it's just so boring at the moment. You know, who wants to trade ETH? I remember buying ETH on the 5th of August when I bought a lot of my altcoins on the 5th of August. I bought ETH over here, and I'm in the minus at the moment from this area that I bought ETH over here. Frustrating. But with XRP, when I bought on the 5th of August, holy crap, right? I bought here on the 5th of August, right over there on XRP. I'm massively in the profits. But ETH, no, you know, ETH doesn't want to come to the party. ETH is lazy. But it does look like it is a very beautiful corrective structure. Not in an ABCDE, but instead a WXY. And this is now where the planets starts aligning for me as well, is to say that, well, the Y wave target has been hit. The first Y wave target, it does have targets to the downside, but I can tell you guys now, you know, the 1-to-1 extension, $125 ETH, it just sounds unrealistic. It doesn't sound like ETH could go down to those levels. So I need to pay attention to the first macro target that has been hit. Even if it doesn't do this, I'm expecting a bounce, at least, because it's a very solid macro target. And if you're not going to get that bounce from the target, you at least expect a bounce and then roll over maybe to the next level. But you're expecting a bounce. From a bearish case perspective, you create a lower high and you still continue to form. From a realistic perspective, I expect at least a bounce. Will it be a bull market bounce? I don't know, right? But it is in a very interesting zone. So looking at ETH, looking at where some of these altcoins, okay, like Litecoin, ETH, XRP, and there's a link. The list goes on, legends. I can go and keep on going through the lists over here. They are all at very interesting levels. Okay. When I take a fib here from the low, okay, this low that was created June 2022 to the highs that ETH created over here, okay, and I just hide this other fib target over here, right? Look at this. It's also inside of the golden pocket. Okay, doesn't matter if you know Elliott wave theory or not. If you are able to take a fib from the high to the low, you know that this, you know, the golden pocket is a pretty important zone, especially on the macro time frame. Okay, since the highs were created over here, we have not tapped the golden pocket just as yet. Okay, and now we are inside of the golden pocket. We have tapped a Y wave target and also A, B, C. We've also tapped a C wave target. Very interesting. Right, so legends, for me, these signs cannot be ignored. What I am doing at the moment is I am accumulating. I am buying more. Call me crazy. This is what I am doing. It's no financial advice. I am accumulating more. You might laugh at me and all of these tokens are going to crash. But what I can tell you is from a technical or an investment perspective, I buy fear. I buy technically great levels. We've already had a massive dump here to the downside. Okay, Litecoin has been in a multi-year consolidation zone, the coin that everyone has forgotten about. And look at how beautifully it bounced here on the trend as well. Trend has just been respected for years, since 11th of December to 2018. This trend has been respected, and this is where Litecoin bounced. Okay, what more? Also, what I wanted to point out over here, I should have made a list because I saw so many things this morning, and then I jumped into the live stream and I was like, okay, I hope I remember everything. From a timing perspective, I want to show everyone this that I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, I'm purely just pointing out technicals. Okay, that's all I'm doing. I'm just pointing out the technicals. When you look at the impulse that started from here, okay, I'm looking at this impulse. This little leg here to the upside, it started on the 17th of August and it ended on the 14th of March. From a timing perspective, I want to see, well, how long did the impulse take and how long did this corrective structure take? Because we now know, okay, it's history now. We know that this correction corrected this entire impulse here to the upside. So when I take a time flip from the low to the high, just to see, well, where did this low find its feet? This low was made just after the 0.618. The minimum requirement is the 0.382, right? So we made a low over there, we made another low, and then after the 0.618, we turned around and we shot to the upside. Okay, now I want to apply the same thing to this current structure that we are in right now. Okay, so now the question is, now I look at this structure. Okay, I'm trying to look at it from all different angles at the moment. When I take a time flip from the low that we've made over here to the high, and I know that there's a lot of debate from a lot of people saying, well, is it this high and this is an A, B, C to the downside, or is it this high? But let's just do worst case scenario. We use this high. You can see that this low using this high was made at least after the minimum requirement. And during my previous live streams, when we were here, I told everyone I don't like it. These lows were made before the 0.382. The minimum requirement is after the 0.382. So it would be nice to make a low after the minimum requirement, which is perfectly fine, but not before. Now we have made a low after the 0.382. Some people, okay, and some technical analysts, because I'm discussing technicals here at the moment, believe that this was the low. This was the low. And this was still part of a triangle. This was still part of a triangle that broke out. So this triangle that formed over here in a B, C, D, E was part of a corrective structure. So this was basically a Y wave. So they ignore this low. They're counting the structure from this low. Okay. And also what some technical analysts are doing, they're saying this is not the high. That is a corrective high. This was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. The impulse ended over here, and this was an A, B, and we are now busy with the C wave here to the downside. So some technical analysts are ignoring this high. They say it's not the right high. Okay. Well, if I entertain that scenario and I take my time flip from this low to this high, okay, then we are past the 1-to-1 extension, which is beautiful. You know, anything, you know, if you start hitting the 1-to-1 extension over here, it just becomes better, because now the correction and the impulse are balancing out from a 1-to-1 perspective. The ratio is now in balance. Okay, so also if I take it from that high, okay, you know, you can do it many times. If I take it from this low now to the high, you can see that this low was now made exactly at the same time where this low was made. from a timing perspective. This impulse correction is now after the 0.618. So legends, you need to let me know in the comments, okay? Because I can see a lot more people are calling. Almost 70% of the audience is calling for $68,000, right? So, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong at all, okay? I'm just pointing out the signs that I'm seeing at the moment. Most people, and it's not just you guys, most people, I see it all over social media as well, on Twitter, people's thumbnails, okay? Most people are calling for this little zone. $68,000 at least. Some people believe it's even going to go lower, okay? No one is even considering the all-time high at the moment. Everyone's like, no, it's still gonna fall down, yeah, okay? Maybe it taps the level to perfection and then we go up. Maybe we create the lower high. But, you know, it just, when we were here at $48,000, everyone was calling for 42. It feels like history is repeating itself, because I remember, you know, you should remember this too. When we were here, everyone was calling for 42. Now that we are here, everyone is calling for 68. We need to find support inside of the consolidation. We need to find support inside of the consolidation. And we didn't. It just bounced here on a level that no one expected a bounce to happen. It basically found support inside of this mini consolidation area over here, and then we rampaged to the upside. There's also a mini little consolidation over here. If I go here onto the 8-hour time frame, okay, there's a little mini consolidation over there, right? It just feels like history is repeating itself. Okay, but legends, by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to convince everyone that the low is in, okay? Please do your own research. I'm just sharing with you guys what I am seeing from a technical perspective and why I am buying at the moment. Okay, I feel like I have seen this movie before. And if price continues to the downside, I'm not going to go all in 100%, sell my kidney, my wife and my house, stay in a tent in someone's backyard and just go all in over here, right? I am still being responsible, okay? I will definitely leave dry powder for lower levels for if we do hit the $68,000. The dry powder, okay, for those of you that don't know what dry powder is, it basically means I'm still keeping money on the side to buy the dips. Okay, I still have money to buy. I am definitely leaving dry powder, okay, for the $68,000. And if we do not get the $68,000, let's say we don't get it and we start pumping here to the upside, we break the trend and we break out. Okay. If we form a 5-wave structure, and this is now what I want to discuss on the smaller time frame over here. If we form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I see a clear 5-wave structure to the upside, this is where I'm deploying this dry powder over there. Because then it's a higher chance, okay, nothing's ever guaranteed, that you're not going to hit this level. And this is now what I am observing at the moment. Are we going to form a 5-wave structure to the upside, or are we again creating 3-wave corrective structures to the upside, which then in turn increases the probabilities for lower levels? Okay, from an investment perspective, you will never be able to catch the ultimate low or the ultimate top from a profit-taking perspective. But you need to look at the signs from a fear and greed perspective. You know, what happened in the past? Where are the altcoins at the moment? I mean, some of these altcoins are at really good technical levels, okay, where their bullish structures are still intact. I mean, on ETH, I can see the impulse, okay? This could still be a correction inside of the golden pocket. The targets has been hit. It's you know, it's... Also, you claim the liquidity below all of these lows over here, this consolidation area, right? Litecoin looks like it's completed its D wave here, or its E wave here to the downside. Okay, I need to get my alphabets right. Link at a very interesting spot. Render, did you guys see Render? I did some analysis on Render this morning as well. I'm not sure if anyone is interested in any altcoins. Okay, render looks sexy. Render looks very sexy. Okay, I bought some render, but I actually do have render at $1.4. Okay, I do have a spot bag that I bought long ago at $1.4. But it looks nice from where it is right now. It looks like, it's formed a beautiful corrective structure here to the bottom. Okay, it's tapped the 1.618. It's finding support at the 2 extension. Also the macro 0.382. When you measure this target, okay, you tapped a B flat target. Doesn't have to claim the low or the high. Okay, let me zoom into the structure. Just quickly, what I wanted to share with everyone is that the B did not claim the high, but it did hit a B flat target, which means it increases the probabilities for your C wave to take the low of A, which it did. Okay, so just a couple of things that looks very interesting over here. Anyways, right, legends, let's get back into the price of Bitcoin. And let's zoom into the smaller time frame. I also want to go through some comments. I want to hear what you are thinking. Where is your sentiment at? Do you think that I am smoking my socks? All I'm trying to do over here is point out the things that I'm seeing on the chart, the facts, the technicals, okay? And why I am buying at the moment. And remember, legends, down in the description of this video is the exchanges that I use to buy these altcoins and Bitcoin at the moment. Weeks up to 50% cash back. Bluffing, every time you trade $10,000 worth in volume, you get to spin a wheel and win amazing prices. You also get 10% cash back, okay, on the money that you deposit in your features account. And these exchanges, all you need is an email and a password to sign up. Femix, you also get that $2,000 airdrop, okay, by signing up with an email and a password, or a cell phone number and a password, whichever way you prefer. But these are the exchanges that I use to do all of my trading, and it costs you nothing extra, and it's also your way to support the channel. Right, so if you're not trading with those exchanges or you don't have the best deals, why not use one of those links? Okay, right, legends, let's go through some comments. But for now, I'm expecting 73K. Yes, can definitely go to 73. I think what's interesting about $73,000, Jeffrey, is also when I zoom into, it's the 1 hour time frame. Okay, there's an interesting level still at, let's say, $72,000, a very interesting level. And it's one tool that I use to get that level. If you take a trend-based FIP from the high that we've created here at $88,000 to the low, to the high, and I'm just measuring the structure here to the downside, this FIP has been really well respected with the momentum here to the downside. Okay, when we hit the 786, we got you got a reaction. This is how you test that the FIP pool is correct. Okay, when we hit the 1-to-1 extension, we got a bounce. We rejected at the 786. So I can see that this FIP pool is doing its magic. Okay, the only level it didn't respect, but it did respect it on the 5-minute, 15-minute time frame. There was a bounce when we hit the 1.236. On the larger time frame, you can't see it, but if you go into the smaller time frames, you can see the reaction. But look at where it bounced. Exactly at the 1.382. So if price still wants to come back down, the 1.618 is around about 73, 72, 800. Okay, it's in that zone, Jeffrey, that you also highlighting. Okay, there's still a chance for another low here to the downside. It's at a very interesting level, 1.618. Okay, which we all know is this, the 618, the 618's magical number. Right? That is usually where the magic happens. That's where price turns around. The golden pocket, okay? The sunflower, the seashell. You see the you see the 618 number everywhere, even inside of nature. We don't know why it works, but it just works. Okay, no one can truly explain why it actually works. Okay, it's really one of those conundrums. Okay, like the pyramids, no one can solve it, but it works, right? Also, when you take a FIP here from the low to the high, that 1.618 level okay, also aligns with the 0.618 on the macro time frame. So is there still a chance for another low? Of course. I'm not doing this live stream over here and trying to convince you just to go all in, and we are definitely going up. I'm just trying to highlight to you that there are hidden bullish signs that I don't think a lot of people are talking about at the moment. It frustrates me that no one wants to buy the fear. Okay? When we were here, there was no one buying. Not retail. Retail was not buying. Maybe some of you were buying. I was buying. Andy was buying. You know, some smart investors were buying over here. And even when we were here, we also said there's still a chance for another dip. There is still a chance for another dip, but we didn't get that. We just didn't get the dip. Okay, so I'm also saying that this 1.618 and the 0.618 still looks like we could go there and get maybe a nice little bounce to the upside. So it's not to be ignored. I'm not saying that the low is in. Just as yet. I did, however, right, when price was trading here, I did say in my live stream, I think the low is in. But there was a little bit more price action. We had that three-wave structure here to the upside. There was a little bit more data to show me that the low is in. We don't have enough data yet for me to confirm that the low is in. Okay, so there's still a chance for one of those, right? One of those here to the downside. But it does seem that the low is, if not in, very close. Okay, I don't think we're going to get the $68,000 level, legends, because too many people are waiting for that level. It's all over social media. Everyone is talking about $68,000. I don't think we're going to get $68,000. I think we're going to get the bounce, if not in already, or before $68,000. And this 1.618 level at $72,000, give or take, looks really attractive. Okay. What is also interesting about this fib is that if you pull it to this little pivot, we have tapped the 0.618 to perfection. Ping, and we got the bounce. And for some of the technical analysts that believe that this was not the low of the impulse, this is the low. This low was still part of a corrective triangle. This was the low that jump-started the bull session here to the upside. So if you now consider this low and you ignore this low, well, we have tapped the 0.618 to perfection, and we got the bounce. Okay. So some people might be looking for lower and the lower might not come. Okay. But all I'm trying to highlight here, legends, is that this zone where we are in right now, this zone is a very good zone. It's technically the best zone if you still want to load up and you believe the bull market is still going to continue to the upside. It is the zone where retail is not buying. This is where smart money is buying. Okay, no financial advice. Okay, right. Let me go through some comments. Okay, that's the thing. There are some level zones, but they going to be respected. Just probabilities. Yes, it's just probabilities at the end of the day, right? I just don't like to fall into that trap of one more low. I don't like to fall into that trap because at some point you're not going to get that one more low again. It's going to turn around. It's going to leave without you. Okay, so I would rather be in the camp of I'm buying the lows. I'm buying the low. I'm buying the low. I'm buying the low so that when it leaves, I'm in. Because if you're still waiting, you're waiting, and maybe you are waiting for a zone, that magical zone down here, you might not get it. Because I can tell you now, everyone that waited for $42,000 were forced to buy in at higher levels. Okay, the market loves to front run. It really loves to front run. It wants to leave people behind. Okay, like, is now the opportunity? No. Maybe now's the opportunity. No. Maybe now's the opportunity. And then at some point, maybe it makes another low. Okay, it just leaves the people that are waiting for $68,000. I think it's going to leave them behind. It's going to force these people to buy in at higher levels. Shit, we missed it. We should have bought in the zone. Okay. Right, legends. Jeffrey, thanks for the comments, by the way. Very good insights over there. Ace, I think it will go down because bulls had a 24-hour hold from banks and refunding their accounts after they got liquidated yesterday. Retail bulls are only really coming back today. Interesting point. I didn't know that, right? The stuff got frozen. Okay. Can you take a look at Layer AI? Bullish. Hey, Layer AI. I think in my entire altcoin spot bag, it's most probably the token that looks the worst. Oh my word, it looks bad. It really looks bad. Okay, we can look at Layer AI in a moment. Coco, I will flag your comment over here, and if I do have time to go through more alts, we will go through that. Hi, Dewald. Is D-Line broken down? Broken down? Which D-Line? The one on the larger time frame over here. Let me switch on my trends. Let's see what's happening with D-Lines. Okay, it's still holding orange. It is still holding orange. Okay, one could also argue what a beautiful tap of the trend, right? So when you connect this low with this low, that's the orange line. Okay, for those of you that are colorblind, and I'm not joking, I have family members that are colorblind, it's this line. Okay, and I know colorblind people specifically struggle to see orange and green. It's this line. So maybe I should make the trend a different color, knowing that. Okay, let me make it that color. Right, blue, the blue one. Right, it now has 3 taps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's respecting the trend as well. Also 618, 1.236, all the levels of confluence I have highlighted here as well. So there's a chance, depending on what happens here on the smaller time frame, legends. And this is what I want to discuss. I quickly still want to go through a couple more comments. There's a chance that depending on what happens inside of this structure, we could get a larger bounce to the upside. And this is now what I want to look at today. Okay, the D line on the smaller time frame. Okay, actually take this box out. The D line on the smaller time frame is the one that I'm waiting for to break out. Okay, here's one over here. And if you go to, is it the 15-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame? Okay, however you want to rock your boat, this is the one that I'm waiting for right now. From a simplicity perspective, it's this one. Okay, what's interesting about this consolidation area, okay, let me not dive in there yet. Let me not dive. Okay, Elizabeth, I believe in all-time high because of the fear and greed and the time frame in chart W and D, RSI, stock RSI bottom, and everyone expects downside momentum. Yes, Elizabeth, you're saying something very important. When everyone is expecting more downwards momentum, you're most probably going to get the opposite. When everyone is expecting upwards momentum, you're most probably going to get downwards momentum. And I can tell you guys now, everyone is expecting downwards momentum. What if this structure surprises the shit out of everyone and it just breaks out? What then? It's going to force all those people waiting for $68,000 to start buying. Okay, so I couldn't agree with you more, Elizabeth. Right, hi Dewald. I'm in a long position for BTC at 79k. Okay, 79. Ooh, up here. Yeah, up here somewhere. Well, in the zone basically, yes. And in your opinion, what would be a good level for TP? Many thanks. TP is always resistance to the upside. So, you know, there's a difference. So if you bought at 79k from a spot perspective and you want to hold it for the next couple of months, that is completely a different TP. If you are inside of a day trade, a high leverage trade, for example, okay, when you hit resistance, you need to take profits. And if you bought at 79k, which is over, yeah, right? So you basically, let's say you bought over here at 79k zone, right? You need to have a clear invalidation. So it's a different answer depending on what you are trying to achieve. If you're buying for the long term, it's a different TP. If you are day trading over here, okay, then where is your invalidation? Why did you enter? And where do you plan to take profits? If you can't answer all three questions, you should not have entered the trade. Okay, because now you're gambling. Okay, you're gambling, right? So, but if you did enter from a day trading perspective, well, you do have, okay, the most obvious area of resistance to the upside, legend. So if you're speculating on buying this little retracement and you want to see the breakout, you have obvious resistance above. Okay, and here is your box of resistance. I'm just going to give you a zone, but you can see that this is a very, very strong zone right over there. Okay, and you can make it red, because I like to make resistance red and support green. Okay, you can make it purple. Well, maybe I should change it to purple actually, right? Anyways, I'm distracting myself. Support, you lost it. Support, support, consolidation, support, 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 support. And now you lost it and you retested the zone as resistance. So you could actually drag this a little bit down. That makes more sense. Okay, there is your resistance. $81,300. That's the zone. So if you are inside of a day trade and you are playing along to the upside, damn it, now I deleted that box. Here we go. Okay, that should be a TP1. Definitely, that should be a TP area, because you are now, look at how you got rejected. Okay, you could come, let's say you break out, definitely you can get rejected again. Okay, so this is a TP on the smaller time frame from a day trading perspective. If you buying at 79, from a spot perspective, still speculating on a Bitcoin move here to the upside to go and claim the all-time high, $125,000 is a good first TP. Okay, and that's conservative. Hi, can you dive in price movement from yesterday till now and how you count the most confused count? Yes, that's what I want to analyze here now at the moment. Legends, I just quickly need to go and fetch something. Okay, my phone is going ballistic. Please give me 2 minutes, okay, or my 1 minute. I'll be 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I will put on some nice background music for everyone.
No fear, subscribe, stay sharp, and dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks. Dance with the stinky socks.
Heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks. Bought some Bitcoin late at night. Woke up rich, that ain't right. Checked again, never mind. Broke as hell. See that line? Maybe risky, maybe wild, but so is betting on Uncle Clyde. Do your research, read your blogs. For heaven's sakes, don't smoke your socks.
Don't smoke your socks.
1, 2, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Everybody hit that like.
No FOMO, no fear. Subscribe, stay sharp. Don't smoke those stinky socks.
Right, thanks legends, thanks for giving me the time. And I see no one jumped off the live stream. This is absolutely amazing. Usually, you know, people jump off the live stream. So here we go. Yes, I am unmuted. Just wanted to make sure that I am unmuted. Right, cool. Don't smoke at all. Yes, we need more bass drum. Time to make coffee. I wish. Right, I've got my water here with lemon and Himalayan pink salt. I doubt a new all-time high is coming. I think we're in a bear market with C-Wave now targeting 92k. Definitely a possibility, okay? Nothing can ever be ruled out. But damn, with so much fear in the market, for me, it just screams a little bit more upwards momentum. At least a bounce to $100,000, $95,000. And Ace, I also see the scenario. Okay, there is a scenario that I want to talk about, but I mean that's on the larger time frame, and I have gone through some of those scenarios yesterday. But first, I quickly just want to analyze this smaller time frame scenario over here on the, dare we say, 15-minute time frame, and let's just see what is cooking over here. Okay, so let me take all the stuff out the way, right? I just want to hide everything. There we go. I want to work with a fresh, clean chart over here. So, legends, yesterday, I jumped into a short over here with my stop above the high, and I took profits, okay? I left some of the position open to come and claim the low, but I took majority, 80% of my profits I took over here. Okay. And for me, it was quite an easy short, right? Because these are the type of trades that I love to take, is when you take a fib here from this little pivot to the low. And this is a trade that I also highlighted to our Legends Pro community yesterday, but it happened quick. It was so quick. I'm not sure if anyone was in front of the chart when this happened, but I did highlight to the Legends Pro community. I did an update and I said, Legends, there's a chance, even if you tap the golden pocket, because remember, we were still looking for, what if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's going to come and take the low again, right? The 0.618 will invalidate a fourth wave and another fifth wave to the downside, which it did. Tick. But I told the Legends you could still get a rejection at the zone, and there's still a chance to claim the low, okay, after you tap the 0.618, because what was the reason? Because you formed a ABC here to the upside. Okay, so I just quickly want to, from an education perspective, Dewald, how did you jump into that short? Well, the first clue was the golden pocket. Okay, you got a rejection from the golden pocket. The second clue for me was because I love my trend-based fibs. I really, really love my trend-based fibs. Okay. Did the music stop now here in the background? Let me put some music on. I love to have some music in the background. Okay, here we go. Yes, there we go. Right, Legends, you take I took a trend-based fib, so I'm just telling you what I did, and I counted this wave here to the upside as, okay, now I'm looking at this structure. This is what I was doing yesterday after the live stream. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's a 5-wave structure. The question is, it's either a wave or it's a 1 wave. A, B, C. Wow, beautiful. I missed the long. I was waiting for this long. I went to go and make food or wash dishes, or I did something, and then when I came back, I saw this. I was waiting for this long. I missed the damn long. Okay, anyways, I then took my trend-based fib, my trusty old trend-based fib, from the low to the high to the low. Okay, and I know if this is a 1 or a, I don't care if it's a 1 or a, it's a 5-wave structure. That's what I care about. Okay, it's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's going to be an ABC. But it's a nice little rejection area. Again, 1.618. You guys see how magical that number is. This is where I shorted. Stop above the high, and then when price started bouncing here up and down, I was like, okay, I posted an update for our Legends Pro community, and I said, Legends, I think what's going to happen over here, okay, is this looks like an ABC, which unfortunately increases the probabilities of taking the low, unless the following happens. Anyways, I took 80% of my profits over here, and I did leave some of the position open to claim the low, which we didn't yet. Okay, we didn't claim the low yet, and I got stopped out. Right, this stopped me out of my trade, but at least I got stopped out with 80% of the profits. Okay, now the question is, what on earth is forming? Because something that I discussed yesterday with the pro community was, Legends, although okay, you have formed an ABC to the upside, and you do not have 4 and 5, which the retracement becomes very interesting if you have a 5-wave structure to the upside. Because we don't have a 4-5, it's not to say that it's guaranteed that you're going to take the low. Okay? Because remember the stupid all WXY structures? When you have a WXY structure, okay, which is also a 3-wave structure, you can form an A, B, C inside of W. You can form an X wave that does not take the low, and then you can create another Y wave structure here to the upside, and maybe another A, B, C, a triangle, however that's going to play out. Okay, so when we were over here yesterday and bouncing inside of this zone, I told the legends it's not guaranteed that you're going to take the low, because this could be an ABC in a W. And this could be an X, and maybe this is forming a Y wave now back to the upside. Or maybe all of this is still part of X. I don't know how the structure is going to develop, but the structure can still develop in a way that is bullish or corrective, even if you have an ABC. Okay, so one of the structures I looked at last night is to say that, well, can we form a bullish structure here to the upside? I just want to take this out. Let's zoom in. Okay, the bullish structure to the upside has to now form as follow. We have to build this. And this could all be 1, 2, okay, I don't know how the structure is going to form, but you now have to form a contracting diagonal to the upside to remain bullish. So you have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure in a 1. Okay, maybe this is a 3-wave structure in a 2. It goes back up for another 3. You form 3. You form 4. You go back up for 5. And then this retracement is going to look very juicy. So based on the price action that's formed up until this point, the only bullish scenario that can get us to higher levels is a contracting diagonal. Okay, but there's still a lot that needs to happen before we can, I at least want to see the 3rd wave in. And then when we get here to the 4th wave, I'm going to start giving the scenario higher probability. And believe me when I say these structures play out all the time. Okay, I see them happen a lot. And the most recent one is here on the 1 hour time frame that we have been talking for. So, okay, that failed us, right? We also, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It started with a 3-wave structure to the upside. But then, there was hope for the bulls. 5-wave structure. You want to create a higher low and you want to continue. Okay, almost took the high, didn't, because now this created a corrective structure back to the downside. Okay. Anyways, right, but there you have an example. These structures play out all the time. So there's a chance that on the smaller time frame, if we are speculating, right, because what I like to look at is when you form a low, an all-time, not an all-time, but the most recent low here on the chart, okay, the most beautiful structure that you can form to the upside is an impulsive structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to form an impulsive structure. 4 doesn't go into 1. Okay, the 3rd wave is at the 1.618. This maybe taps the 2 extension. You have a beautiful ABC. You have bullish CVD between those 2 lows. You're long like a crazy person over here, expecting that explosion back to the upside. But it's not often that we get beautiful structures when we make a low. It's like the market makers are purposefully trying to make it very difficult, okay, to determine if this move to the upside is bullish or corrective. And I saw, legends, when you rewind price action, okay, I will never forget. I don't know if you guys remember this. Where was it? 5th of August. Here we go. Yeah, right. Do you guys remember the 5th of August? If I go back to this low, you have to. You've now made a low. And we were all trying from an Elliott wave perspective to count an impulse here to the upside. And boy, oh boy, did it just look 1, 2, 3. It just looked 3 wavy. And because most people saw this as a 3-wave structure, Everyone said we're going to take the low again. This is not where you can count 1, 2, 3. Where's 4 and 5? Everyone questioned, where's 4 and 5? Well, the rest is history. We moved to the upside. Okay. Right. And this is why some people are speculating that this formed a triangle. This structure formed a triangle in an, what was it? I can't even remember. And it was here from A, B, C, D, E. It formed a triangle, and this is why some technical analysts believe that this was not the low from the impulse. The impulse started here because this was still part of a Y wave. And a Y wave can end in a triangle. Okay, which ended over here. A, B, what was it? A, B, C, D, E. And then we shot up. So one could even argue that the bull market actually started over there. Okay, the bullish momentum. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to show everyone over here is that you can have a very ugly structure that still turns out to be bullish. Okay, right, let's go back here onto where we are right now. Okay, and here we go. Right, so for us, for the bulls, if you want to hold the low that we have formed over here, okay, the only thing that's going to keep the structure bullish is maybe this was the 3 wave. In 1, you're going to form a 3 wave. In 2, you're going to go up for 3, 4, and 5. And then the retracement, especially if there's bullish CVD, is going to be very interesting for momentum back to the upside. So there's a chance, but there is still a lot that needs to happen. Okay, there's still a lot that needs to happen. At the moment, based on the price action that we have now, it's not bullish. There's still a lot that needs to happen. Okay, based on the price action that we have right now, there is still a chance to take the low, because this little structure is not a bullish structure, but it can still turn out to be a bullish structure depending if we get more data, because more candles equals more data. You start putting the puzzle pieces together. But all I'm trying to show you guys over here is based on this recent move here to the upside, the only way that we're going to get out to higher levels is if this forms a diagonal. Okay, and it continues. Right, but then there is other scenarios that can form over here as well, legends. So the first longing opportunity, just by the way, that I'm looking inside of this structure, I think I did highlight it to our Legends Pro community this morning. Okay, very simple technical analysis. Took a fixed range from the low. Okay, I took a trend to say that, well, I'm still expecting a bounce here to the upside, but I can enter with good risk management, right? So what I do like about this little zone over here, and I see the point of control keeps on jumping around because of the new price action, but nonetheless, this zone over here, okay, 0.382 together, you know, this zone looks like a good longing opportunity. It would be nice to swing failure from that low. So it dips below, it gets acceptance back above, maybe it even taps the point of control, because we also have a point of control, if I'm not mistaken. Let me switch on the daily levels. There we go. Right, so from a longing perspective, right now, as price is grinding here to the downside, the most interesting zone that I'm seeing at the moment is the daily level. There's a naked point of control, and it's also the point of control of this range, and it more or less aligns with the 382, but I'm very interested in this zone over here. So if price does this, okay, I know where to put my stop loss. I will attempt a long over here, and this is also why I have the trend, because we could front run that zone. Okay, I'm just going to put it there, right? Just connect those two pivots. So if I miss the trade for some reason, maybe I'm busy with something else, or it front runs, I'm very interested in the breakout over there to go and claim the high. Okay, TP1 for me. And then obviously to the upside, the resistance that I have identified. Okay, love bro Dewald, you are best. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. Right. Okay, cool, legends. So I just quickly wanted to highlight a trading opportunity that I do potentially see here inside of the structure, but there's a chance I just want to go and look at CVD. Okay, CVD is so bullish. I just want to see on the local side of things. Can you guys see this? Okay. Look at this pivot and look at where price is. So price is still currently forming a higher low over here, a higher low. But look at CVD. It's just like a free falling here to the downside. Okay, this is a sign of strength. This is always what I'm looking for when I want to enter a long. I look for strength, and I'm seeing strength at the moment. Okay, and this is the pivot that I would like a swing failure from. So for me, the best way to get into this trade is I want to see it do this. I want it to claim the low, and I want it to start trading back above the low. So if price is there after it's done the damage, that is where I'm interested in the long, because now I know where to put my stop loss. Okay, also then it's the break of the trend, and you could potentially go to higher levels. Okay, maybe take the high, who knows. Right, but you need to trade with a stop loss, because price could also continue here to the downside and just build more aggressive bullish CVD against these pivots. Okay. Right, cool. So I hope it's not going to front run this level, because I mean it's awfully close and it looks like price wants to turn around over here. But you know, this is the long that I'm currently looking at. If this long, okay, because it's never easy in trading, if the long does not play out in this zone, I'm looking at the golden pocket together with the value area low, and I like that pivot. So I will play a swing failure from this pivot. So if there's no trade over here and price just falls through, okay, it breaks down, it retests the area as resistance, and it continues to the downside, this little pivot together with the value area low, golden pocket, is where I'm going to be looking for a long back to the upside. Right, so I have my long plan, Okay, I already shorted this momentum to the downside, got stopped out over here, so I'm now looking for a fresh new trade. And at the moment, it looks like longs could be in our favor based on strength that I'm seeing from a cumulative volume delta perspective. Right, I mean, even this little, guys, I just like pivots. When I see pivots like this, I see a pivot like that, I see a pivot like that. To me, it's like, pay attention, set alarms at those pivots, see what price does at those pivots, because I can guarantee you at any one of these, you're going to get a beautiful trade. Even if you get stopped out of two of them and you get one successful one. So even if you get stopped out here, okay, maybe it does this. You get stopped out, continues to the next zone, you get stopped out. So let's say you get stopped out of both, but you catch this one, and it does what it's supposed to do, and it continues momentum here to the upside. That pays back both those stop losses and profits in your bag. If you're applying your rules, you're not going in with, you're not breaking your rules. You're not going in 100x with your entire portfolio, and then you bleed out your account with those two losses, and then you've got nothing to trade with here anymore. Okay, you have to stick to your rules. But I'm telling you, even if I get stopped out twice in a day and I manage to catch one of them, it just makes it makes it worth it. It pays back these little tiny stop losses. It pays back both those stop losses, plus massive profits. Okay, right. Just want to see something over here. What is the time? Right, legends. Something else. Okay, there's a scenario. Okay, I have discussed it yesterday. How do you set up 3 CVDs on the chart? So the website is inside of the description here at the bottom. Okay, so inside of this YouTube stream that's happening right now, there's the CVD site. Okay, it will look different than what mine looks like. In order, there's a script that you need to upload. Okay, I'm going to show everyone. Can everyone see? Let me put my face here on the other side. I am stuffing this up so badly, but I need to click on the right scene, and I'm clicking on all the wrong buttons except the one that I need to click on. Okay, legends, let me do this. Let me just put on the screen only. Okay, let's try this. Right. Sorry about that, legends. Okay, here at the bottom, can you guys see? Let me zoom out. Okay, here at the bottom. Okay, I need to maybe even close this because I don't know if everyone can see this. Here at the bottom of the page. Okay, my laptop will now stuff around. I don't want. Okay, there we go. Right, let's try this again. Here at the bottom is a green little thing with with 3 dots. Okay, you select that, and there's a script. You can only get the script inside of our Discord community. You can join the free section. You don't even have to pay for the paid section. And so one of the mods will share the script with you. We have it freely available. You will then go to settings, and this is where you will upload the script, upload template. Okay, so once you have the script, this is where you upload it and you import it, and then your CVD will look like mine. 3 lines. Okay, right, let me try this again. Here we go. Mr. JJ, so you have to join our community. Here's the link to join our community. And inside of the free section, we don't mind sharing it. Okay, it's just an indicator. The trick is it's not an indicator, okay, that makes you successful in trading. It's the person behind the indicator that knows how to implement it with good risk management that turns the indicator profitable, if that makes sense. Okay, right. I always say it's never the strategy, it's never the indicator, it's the person behind the strategy or the indicator that's still, not implementing their rules or don't trade with rules at all. Okay, right, legends. Now, Dewald, what's your target for Litecoin if it breaks out? Jack, that's a really good question. I will give you a conservative target. So I like the words that you've used. If it breaks out. Thank you so much, because nothing's ever guaranteed. Okay, Jack, if Litecoin breaks out, okay, there are 2 targets. Okay, the first one, I'm going to go to the regular scale. Okay, the first one is going to be claiming the high. Let's just keep it simple. $418. Because that's exactly what XRP did. XRP claimed high. Okay, so just mimicking what XRP did, I think that's a really good place to take profits. From a logarithmic, I'm not going to go through that target. Let's just say, you claim the highs because that's exactly what happened on XRP. Let's go to XRP here quick. Okay, what did XRP do? It claimed the highs and it started consolidating to the downside. Is the high in? I don't think so. I think XRP is still going to go a little bit higher, but you can see where it got rejected. So you can see that it's a good profit-taking area, right? Even if XRP goes back up, I mean, it's a painful process to stay inside of a consolidation for so long. And I can tell you now, everyone that played this breakout or even got in at lower levels down here, they regret not taking profits at the high and maybe looking for another entry a little bit lower. Okay, so the highs is always a great profit-taking area. Okay, let's just keep it at that. Keep it simple like that. Wow. Let me just clean up the chart over here. Ooh, I felt like my mouse almost burnt out there the way I had to click that button. Thank you, Dewald. Will do. Okay, perfect. Right, legends. Now I want to quickly jump into the 4-hour time frame, and I just want to show everyone the different scenarios that we are still tracking. Okay, so from the all-time high, whether it's this one or whether it's this one, the structure to the downside still looks corrective for now. Okay, the obvious scenario is the WXY. Okay, we have formed an ABC in W, we formed a triangle in an X, and now we are going to go and form a Y here to the downside. Okay, And this Y can go as low as $60,000, even $50,000. This Y really has deep targets to the downside. The minimum requirement for the Y is that it takes the low of W, which it already did. So from an Elliott wave perspective, the targets is you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low of W to, now the question is, which high do you use over here? Okay, so let's just put it on the highest one over there. The minimum or the minimum target is $68,000. Okay, and this is now where everyone's getting the target from. Okay, the minimum target for your Y wave is $68,900, 0.618. Okay, this is what everyone is looking for. I must say the momentum here to the downside is not pretty, because remember, if you creating a three-wave structure, look at this, A, B, C. Okay, remember what I said here, A, B, C. Okay, if you want to create an impulsive or an A wave now to the downside, whether your X is here or here, there's a problem. There's a little bit of a problem over here. Okay, because an A wave needs to be a 5-wave structure to the downside in the Y, in the zigzag. Okay, so if you count this as a 1, 2, 3, where is 4, where is 5? You need a 4 and a 5, and that is your A wave. Then you create a B wave and you create a C wave to the downside, a zigzag. Can you see? You create a lightning bolt. There's a problem. There's a little bit of a problem for the A wave here to the downside. Okay, and this is it does impact the probabilities for the scenario ever so slightly. Is I wanted to see either a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not tapping the 0.618. The fourth wave has been invalidated. That's now the problem. If you take a fib from number 2 to the low over here, look at what happened. Okay, when you create an impulse to the downside, you have to create 1, 2, 3, 4 maximum target 0.55. That becomes your A wave. Then you create a sideways B, whatever that is, and you create another C wave to the downside to go and complete your Y wave. You want a zigzag in Y to the downside. A has to be a 5-wave structure. We tap the invalidation. Now this is a damn 3-wave structure to the downside. So can you guys see, based on information, as price develops, it starts decreasing probabilities for one scenario, and it could now be increasing probabilities for another scenario. Okay, so we have been talking about this WXY to the downside for quite some time. Okay, and yes, I mean, the market is here to surprise us. It can definitely still play out, but there's now a problem based on the structure that has formed. This structure that is formed here to the downside, there's a little bit of a problem. But each scenario always has a mistake in it, maybe even 2 mistakes, and it's about finding the scenario that has the least amount of mistakes. So can the Y wave still play out to the downside? Yes. Okay. Right. Another scenario is this one that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. Okay. And there's a couple of ways to look at this scenario. Okay. Is either this was the high and this is an A, B, and this, all of this is a C wave. All of this is a C wave. Some people are also counting this, including myself. You can also count this as an A, B, and this is a C wave. It's the same result. Whether you count this as an ABC, whether you count this as an ABC, it's the same result. Okay, so it's a 3-wave corrective structure. Doesn't matter where you count it from. The targets are more or less the same, but you are looking for the same structure, right? So if we are looking at an A, B, C, okay, it means that it's a corrective structure, and the probabilities of breaking up and taking the high is, in your favor. Because it's a corrective. This is corrective to the downside. It's not impulsive to the downside. Okay, so let's entertain the scenario for a moment and say, well, what if this is the structure? You can, for now, successfully count 5 waves to the downside. Okay, you have an A, B, and your C wave has to have 5 waves to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. So there's a chance, based on this structure, that the low is in. It just has to be considered. Okay? And now we're going to continue momentum here back to the upside. But I just want to highlight that you can also count this structure as it's starting impulses back to the downside. This is the high and we're going into a bear market. So this now becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. So it is the breakout, the structure that's going to form over here, the breakout, or we make another, because there's another scenario, legends, I don't want to confuse everyone, but there's also another scenario where you could say, well, right, this is number 3. Number 5 still needs to be made. Number 3 is over here. We're still waiting for 4. Okay, you can extend the structure. Okay, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to reject again at resistance. You're going to reject over there, and then you're going to make another low, tapping that 1.618 level at $72,000. So, that's why I'm saying it's never easy. But the beauty about the structure is you're not going down much further, okay? Maybe you're going to claim the low one more time, right? Like at $72,000, right? And this structure that is forming here is a 4th wave corrective structure to the upside. You fall back down for a 5th wave, and now whether we break out here or whether we break out here, where this is 3 and this is 5, okay? It is the breakout that is going to give us the clues whether the bull market is going to continue. Because if we break out in a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I see that, it is bullish, it's not corrective, which means that the retracement is going to be very interesting to play the long to the upside. That's where I want to build my swing positions. Okay, if the breakout to the upside is a 3-wave structure, A, B, C, W, X, Y, a 3-wave structure, okay, this becomes a great shorting opportunity, because then this is impulsive, this is corrective, and momentum is going to continue to the downside. So we need this structure to tell us and to show us which way Bitcoin wants to go. I can't at the moment based on this local structure. There's too little information. I can't. Okay. So we're still going to have to, if you want confirmation whether we are moving up or whether we are going down, you're going to have to sit on your hands and wait another 2-3 weeks. Okay. Right. But I have shown everyone during the beginning of the stream why I am starting to accumulate. Okay. Those are my reasons. But if you want confirmation, you're going to have to be patient. Right, is it possible to have a 335 for ABC? 335. Yes, it is possible. Whoops, just dropped my mic over there. Yes, it is possible to have a 335. Sorry, legends, just dropped my mic over here. Okay, and It's not an easy thing to answer, but you get 3-wave A waves, you get 5-wave A waves. And depending in the context that you are using it inside of the structure, whether it's a WXY or it's a zigzag, right? Depending on the context, you would prefer a 5-wave structure in an A wave, or you would prefer a 3-wave structure in an A wave. So I'm not going to dive into those details just now, but if you have access to Google and you know how to use ChatGPT, you will quickly figure it out. The website, which is a really good website to use if you want to know more about Elliott wave theory, obviously is joining our Legends Pro community. We have a masterclass that teaches you everything that you need to know about Elliott wave theory, volume strategy, harmonic patterns, swing failure patterns, everything that you need to know to get started to trade like a professional. We've got inside of our Legends Pro community, okay, where you get access to the masterclass, Andy's masterclass, right? But if you can't go there, I do have a trusty old website that I use for my knowledge, Firstly, I love to use ChatGPT. I didn't know ChatGPT actually explains Elliott wave theory so well, but then this website, it's called Elite Currency. Elite Currency. It teaches you everything that you need to know about Elliott waves. So if you want to know about 335s and 535s and in which context, which scenario is preferred, right, this is where you will learn everything. Okay. Right, legends. And remember, if you'd like to come and trade with me, the links for the exchanges that I use where you get the best bonuses, best sign-up fees, lowest trading fees, okay, is the links down in the description. Okay, it costs you nothing extra. You only benefit by using the links to the downside because I organize with these exchanges to give my community the best deals. 50% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account, 0% maker fee, 25% discount on your taker fees. They have a nice competition running at the moment. Bloffin's got that wheel every time you trade you move $10,000 worth in trading volume, which in my mind is easy to do, right? You get to spin the wheel and win some amazing prizes. You also get 10% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. And then also, depending on how much you deposit, $25,000, $50,000 for the larger traders, they will automatically upgrade you to VIP status 1 and 2. So, you know, this is where I organize you guys the best deals. Right, legends, I have run out of time at the moment. Okay, thanks, Dewald, for explaining in detail the Elliott wave, invalidation, and so on. I'm starting to understand it in a deeper way. Yes, that penny does start to drop, okay? It's Elliott wave theory. Not a lot of people like it because it's too complex. They don't understand it. But there comes a time where the pennies starts dropping and you're like, Because, you know, guys, I'm doing Elliott wave theory here on the 4-hour time frame. I'm looking at the ABC, I'm looking at the WXY, but what makes Elliott wave theory so incredibly powerful from a day trading perspective is that when I'm on the 5-minute time frame, I want to show you guys this, okay? I only focus on the structure right in front of me, okay? I was able to catch this short because I know Elliott wave theory. I counted a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. I can tell you guys now, I would have caught the long if I was in front of the PC. Okay, how would you have caught the long, Dewald? Right, I want to show you guys. I know I'm supposed to say bye, but I'm so intrigued. When someone says they love Elliott wave theory, I'm like, game on, right? If you take a trend-based fib from your high to A to B, I mean, I was waiting for the 1.618. You guys see this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. Okay, it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there was another. Look at this. Look at this. So I'm focusing my Elliott wave knowledge on the local structure that I see in front of me. You can go crazy on the larger time frames, and you'll always have various scenarios. Okay, but I was looking for this long and I missed it because I was busy with something else. I was looking for this long at the 1.618 because I know that a corrective structure target is usually maximum at the 618. Also find support here by this pivot. If you take a fib from the low to the high, okay, you also almost bounced there in the golden zone, but you got acceptance back above the 50%. That I was waiting for. But to keep it simple, this is what I was looking at. Okay, let me draw it out for everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was waiting for the correction, very patient for the correction. ABC to the downside. Do you guys see how beautifully it comes together? Right? And I was waiting to long this zone. Also, I wanted to see, well, does this structure to the upside make sense? Okay, 4 did not go into the territory of 1. Did the 3 hit also the 1.618? Can you guys see how powerful this 1.618 is? Right? You take your fib from the low to the high to the low. Ooh. Okay, the third wave. Look at the third wave. Also at the 1.618. Very, very common target for a third wave. 1.618. The retracement, 1.618. The short, from from the low to the high to the low. Short 1.618. It's a cluster of damn 1.618. But because I know Elliott wave theory, I know how to measure the waves. I know where to long. Okay. I know where to long. I know where to short. I know that this is a 5-wave impulsive structure, so you're most likely going to make a higher low. This is the beauty about a 5-wave structure. Whether this is an A wave or 1 wave, I don't care. I don't fucking care, right? I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Retracement looks very good for a long. Where did you get the bounce? At the 1.618. It could also have been at the 1.236 or the 1-to-1 extension, but you got the bounce at the maximum target. Where did we reject? At the 1.618, because now this becomes an ABC. 1, 2, 3. I don't care if it's an ABC or 1, 2, 3. Okay, they have the same target. An extended C wave or a third wave here to the upside. Right. So, and this is thanks to Elliott wave theory. So for people that tell me Elliott wave theory is a bunch of BS, okay, you have so many scenarios. Which one do you think is going to play out? That is larger time frame stuff. Okay, there's always multiple scenarios. But when I'm day trading and I'm staring at the 5-minute time frame, all I care about is this, 5 waves. Okay, there's a higher probability to make a higher low. I know how to measure the targets for the C wave here to the downside. Now that you play the long to the upside, you know that becomes a profit-taking area. Okay, but this also becomes a shorting area. So I'm applying my Elliott wave knowledge on the smaller time frame to play the movements to the up and to the downside. If the structure does not make sense, I play swing failure patterns. Okay. I don't know how to count this from an Elliott wave perspective. Then I throw my Elliott wave knowledge. I just pause it, and then I play the breakouts. Okay, you can play the breakouts as well. Okay, there was a breakout. Okay, and now this is the breakout that I'm waiting for now. Regardless of how you count this from an Elliott wave perspective, you can also apply your trading strategies to it. Swing failure patterns, breakout strategy, apply your rules, make sure you enter with good risk management, make sure you know where to take profits, and so forth. Anyways, legends, remember, if you'd like to come and trade with me, links are down in the description. Thank you so much for joining today's live stream. I appreciate you being here, and until the next one, cheers for now.